I bow to that camphor-hued, white-complexioned Lord Shiva, who is the incarnation of compassion, who is the very essence of consciousness, the knowing principle of life, who wears snakes as garlands, whose eternal abode is in the heart of the devotee. I bow to Lord Shiva and his consort Bhavani. Om Namo Narayanaya to our loving Swami Premananda Maharaj, Swami Tribhuvanji Maharaj, my most revered parents, dear sisters and brothers, and little flowers of God. We are once again gathered for Shivarathri, the great night of Shiva. So, I thought I'd take a little bit of a different angle on things tonight, especially on this subject, and try and make it a lot about you. So please pay attention, and I'm going to call your attention every now and again. You know, when you meet someone, it takes just a quick glance, maybe 3 seconds, for you to evaluate the person. In the short time, you form an opinion or learn a little about the person based on appearance, body language, demeanor, mannerisms, and dressing. And all this happens before you engage in a conversation or ask questions such as, so where do you work? What do you do? And so on. So based on that principle, I'm going to tell you a little about Lord Shiva. What does he do? Why does he do it? About his appearance. What does he wear? Why does he wear it? And most importantly, why are you here tonight and what he can do for you? So, who is Lord Shiva? Shiva means auspiciousness and the one in whom the whole universe rests. In the Vedas, he is Rudra. In the Upanishads, he is described as one without beginning, middle or end. And as Hara, he is the destroyer of ignorance. In the Ramayana, Rama worships Shiva. In the Mahabharata, Krishna shows his devotion to Shiva. In the Shiva Purana, Hanuman is mentioned as the 11th incarnation of Shiva. Lord Shiva is the 3rd aspect of the Hindu Trinity. Brahma creates, Vishnu sustains and protects, while Shiva ends and destroys. However, it must be noted that his destruction is not a rude and merciless killing. It is not annihilation, but a fulfillment. Shiva's destruction is a rooting out of weaknesses, inefficiencies, ignorance, and other obstacles that hinder our progress towards Brahman. So let's learn a little about his appearance. We mostly see Lord Shiva depicted as sitting in meditation, and his body smeared with ashes. He has 3 eyes, and a crescent moon adorns his forehead. Venomous snakes are coiled around his body. In one hand he holds a trident, in another he carries a small drum, and the Ganga flows from his matted locks. Lord Shiva is dressed in an elephant skin and sits on a tiger skin. Nandi, his faithful bull, sits near him. To get to know him, we need to understand the meaning of all of this, of what I just described. So, Shiva is often shown sitting in a cremation ground, which indicates the end of physical life, which is a prerequisite for every new creation, for the cycle of birth and death to happen. The ashes smeared on his body is from the cremation ground. When ashes are applied on the forehead, it reminds the devotees of God and his grace. His 3 eyes indicates that Lord Shiva has sight, foresight, and insight. He knows the past, present, and future. The 3rd eye is the eye of intuition. The 3 eyes may also represent the sun, moon, and fire, which are sources of light, life, and heat. The crescent moon symbolizes the mind. Lord Shiva uses a fractional part of his mental power to control the universe. The moon also symbolizes time, indicating that Lord Shiva is the controller of time, which must be used appropriately to improve ourselves. Ganga. So water has 2 important natural abilities. It sustains life and has a capacity to purify. The holy waters of Ganga also represent faith. It is faith that sustains the spiritual life of a devotee and purifies him. The snakes, everything including which is feared and rejected by the world, belongs to him. The snakes also represent different kinds of souls that derive their sustenance from Lord Shiva. The elephant skin that he wears, by conquering the elephant and wearing its skin, the Lord shows control over active nature. Uncontrolled uncontrolled behavior is a curse, but when conquered and directed towards the Lord, it becomes a benefit to the seeker. The tiger skin indicates the Lord's complete mastery over desires, because if our desires are uncontrolled, it devours our sense of judgment and discrimination. The drum is the vibration that causes the entire universe to manifest itself in a systematic way. He wears 2 earrings, also known as kundalas. The earring in the left ear of the Lord is used by women, and the one in his right ear by men. These earrings symbolize the Shiva and Shakti, the male and female principle of creation. And when I was typing up my notes, I actually went back to look at the pictures. And when you look at his pictures, not all of it, but most of his pictures, you'll notice that the earring on the left is actually smaller. He wears, those hoops. So the one on the right is bigger, for the male, and it's actually smaller. I don't know if you ever noticed that detail, but this was the first time for me. It was quite interesting. So the trident represents the 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. It also represents the past, present, and future, all of which is controlled by Lord Shiva. Nandi, a white bull symbolic of virtue, and its 4 legs represent the 4 principles of religious duty or dharma. So the 4 legs mean austerity, purity, mercy, and charity. So like I said, this is all about you tonight. So everything I've described really is about you and your spiritual journey. Everything he wears is actually about you. It's a message for you or for us. So what's tonight all about? Significance of Shivarathri. So when I was researching, I came across there was many myths and many tales about tonight. So I'm going to list a few. I want to delve a little into the one and briefly touch on the other. So here's some of them. Lord Shiva revealed his lingam form. Lord Shiva and Parvati got married. Lord Shiva drank the halal poison and saved humanity. It's the night that Lord Shiva danced the Tandava dance, also known as a cosmic dance. I'm going to go over that very briefly in a little while. But the one that I want to drill down a little into is the story of King Chitrabhanu. Now I know most of you are aware of the story, but please bear with me because I want to talk about the details of the story. So this is where I ask you to pay close attention to the details in the story. Once upon a time, King Chitrabhanu was fasting for Mahashivaratri with his wife. The sage Ashtavakra visited the king and asked him, "O king, why are you fasting today?" King Chitrabhanu, who had a gift of remembering the incidents of his previous birth, replied, "In my past birth, I was a hunter in Varanasi. My name was Suswara. One day, I was roaming the forest, hunting for animals. Night fell quickly and it got really dark. Unable to return home, I climbed a tree for shelter. It happened to be a bel tree. I bundled up the dead animals and tied it to a branch on the tree. As I was extremely hungry and thirsty, I kept awake throughout the night. I shed profuse tears when I thought of my poor wife and children at home, starving and anxiously waiting for my return. To pass away the night, I engaged myself in plucking the bare leaves and dropping them onto the ground. The day dawned, I returned home and saw the dead animals. I bought some food for myself and for my family. I was about to break my fast when a stranger came to me begging for food, and I served him first. So at my time of my death, I saw 2 messengers of Lord Shiva. They were sent down to take my soul to the abode of Lord Shiva. I learned then for the first time of the great merit I had earned by the unconscious worship of Lord Shiva during the night of Shivarathri. They told me that there was a lingam at the bottom of the tree. The leaves I dropped fell on the lingam. My tears which I had shed out of pure sorrow for my family fell into the lingam and washed it. And I had fasted all day and all night, which was an unconscious worship of the Lord. So here's where I go into the detail. So what does all of this really mean? The wild animals that the hunter killed are actually lust, anger, greed, infatuation, jealousy and hatred. The jungle that he hunted in is actually your mind, consisting of these 4 aspects to your mind: the subconscious mind, the intellect, the ego, and the conscious mind. And this is where all the negativity runs wild. They must be killed, all the negativity. Our hunter was pursuing them because he was a yogi. If you want to be a real yogi, you have to conquer these evil tendencies. Do you remember the hunter's name? Suswara. He was called Suswara because it means melodious. If a person practices right, ethical living with good habits and behaviors, and is ever conquering his evil tendencies, he will develop certain external marks of a yogi. The first signs are lightness of the body, health, steadiness, clearness of expression, and a pleasant voice. Hence his name, Suswara. So Varanasi, remember, is where he was, where the whole story took place. Varanasi is also known as the home of Shiva, which is quite apt. So the yogis call the Agnya Chakra Varanasi. This is the point midway between the eyebrows. You know, we always hear in Reiki, you must align your 7 chakras, and you go for these treatments that help you. So this one of the chakras in the center here is known as Varanasi, or as your Lord Shiva. It is regarded as a meeting place of 3 nerve currents, or flows of consciousness. As an aspirant, which we all are here tonight, we are instructed to concentrate on that point. So when we sit for meditation, when you close your eyes and you focus inwardly, you focus on your Varanasi, your Agnya Chakra between your eyebrows. The energy of this chakra allows us to experience clear spiritual contemplation and connection as well as self-reflection. The energy of this Agnya Chakra allows us to access our inner guidance, allows us to cut through illusion, and to access the deeper truths that lies within us. The truth of the question of who am I? You focus on here. Did you ever notice a detail on a bare leaf? It has 3 leaves on one stalk. The stalk represents the spinal column. 3 leaves represent the 3 nerve currents, which are the regions for the activity of the moon, sun and fire respectively, or which may also be thought of as the 3 eyes of Shiva. And the hunter climbing the tree is meant to represent the ascension of the Kundalini Shakti, the serpentine power. What about him weeping for his wife and children? So his wife and children are none other than the world. One who seeks the grace of God must become an embodiment of love. His shedding of tears is symbolical of his universal love, which wins the grace of God. Resting in the tree means he had a still mind. He was calm and he found a place to be still. He also experienced the following. When he was in the tree, he was in the waking state. So in order to get onto the tree, he had to be awake. As he plucked and dropped the bare leaves, he passed the second stage, which is called the dream state. So hopefully in the second quarter, this is your dream state and you'll pass this. And as he was concentrating on the leaves, he passes through the dream state. He kept vigil the whole night, which means he had moved past the 3rd state, which is a deep sleep state, which you all should experience between 12 and 6. So he passed through that state successfully. And the dawning of the day symbolizes the entrance into the 4th state, which is called Turiya, the transcendental state of enlightenment. And that's what we all, hopefully, we want to have at 6 o'clock in the morning, is Turiya. When he goes home, he sells the animals, meaning he got rid of his negative qualities. He also feeds a stranger. A stranger is someone whom you have not seen before. The stranger is no other than the hunter himself, transformed into a new person. And that's what we're aspiring to after 6 tomorrow morning. So to recap what I just said of the story, he got rid of negativity, he prayed through the night, he finally got rid of all these negative qualities, he entered into the 4th state of enlightenment, and this ultimately led to a transformation of his character and what lies inside of him. So that was the one tale of tonight. The second one I want to touch on very briefly is the Tandava dance. When Lord Shiva performs the Tandava dance, it is a dance of dissolution and eventual renewal. The old is destroyed and new divinity is formed within you. The most dangerous obstacle to understanding oneself is our ego. It is this that prevents us from proceeding forward. At every step it comes up. We just have to be watchful. Everybody has an ego. Nobody can be free of it. I'm talking about the negative ego, which thinks that it is the greatest. I am the biggest. Nobody can beat me. Whatever I think is right. When I say something, I should be respected. All these aspects of the ego are churned up, broken, and thrown to bits by the Tandava dance. It is a frightening dance, and do you know why it is so scary? Because when the dance is happening within us, we come face to face with ourselves. All the negativity and dangerous elements lying in our minds and in our egos. Symbolically, on this night, when Shiva does this Tandava, they are all brought to the front and broken to bits. When it's all broken, what remains? Only positivity, peace, and blissfulness remains. I want to bring Lord Shiva, the relevance of Lord Shiva, back to Sri Ramakrishna. The story is not tied into Shivarathri as such, but just it links very nicely into the deity. So while at pilgrimage with Mathur Babu, Sri Ramakrishna visited Benares, where they took a boat tour along the banks of the Ganges. When they came before the great cremation ground, Thakur was overcome with emotion. His body hairs standing on end, he walked to the edge of the boat and went to Samadhi. Seeing Lord Shiva standing on the Ghat, the Ghat is, the stairs of Varanasi, in the river, it's those stairs that's going down into the river. He later said, I saw a tall white person. So on the side, on the Ghat, they burn the dead bodies, so the corpses, and you see the pyres are burning. So he says, I saw a tall white person with tawny matted hair, walking with solemn steps to each pyre in the burning Ghat, raising carefully each jiva or soul, and imparting into his ear the mantra of Supreme Brahman. On the other side of the body, sitting on the pyre, was the all-powerful Mother Kali, untying all knots of the bondage of karma, sending him or the soul to the sphere by opening with her own hands the door to liberation. So for all of us who are immersed in this night, all the joy, peace and bliss you crave for is in you. But like a man who has vast riches in the iron chest, but has no idea where the key is, we suffer. Hear properly the instructions, dwell upon them in the silence of meditation, practice what has been made clear therein, then you can secure the key, open the chest, and be rich in happiness. He who utters the names of Shiva during Shivarathri with perfect devotion and concentration is freed from all sins. He reaches the abode of Shiva and lies there and lives there happily. He is liberated from the wheel of birth and death. My prayer tonight is that we all let Lord Shiva dance a Tandava within us, taking us to new heights and depths of spirituality, tasting his infinite Amrit. Chidananda Rupam Shivoham Shivoham. I am consciousness and bliss. I am Shiva. I am Shiva. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Thank you. Yes, that's a beautiful talk. I know this point. I say anything about it. I know this point.
And brothers, Swamiji got out of it very comfortably. Yes, as Swamiji says, a very, very deep insightedness, very, very well researched Mahashivaratri message by our loving sister Desiree. And the most important thing to note that Shiva itself, who is Shiva, as has been explained, what you term as auspiciousness, you will see Mangalmay, Shivaratri, Mangalmay Ratri. So this Mahashivaratri night is the Mangalmay Ratri night. It's a night of auspiciousness. And it shouldn't be in a state of latency, remaining there, but that which should be explored. So the Tandav dance, etc., that comes in between will naturally reveal what is there. So that which is latent within ourselves has to be brought out. The reality in us. So Shivarathri here, you will find, is a role that is being played. And the example that our sister Jayaswani gave, you'll find in the Shiv Puran, it begins, the Shiv Puran commences with the story of this king, Chitrabhanu, that was being spoken of. And how you will find the compassion of Bhagwan comes onto our pathway. I want to point out one thing here at this venue here, at this situation, when you find some sort of miracle that is taking place. Don't ever think that this is an accident. Don't ever think that this is a special grace that has just come upon me. But realistically, when you look into it, you'll find it's something that you have earned. And that is what we are calling karma. Our karmas of the past, we are not recognizing that now. We are unaware of what was the past in my life. And here you are confronted with a situation, you find you suddenly become a multimillionaire for that matter. There is no accident that something like that has suddenly happened. In this case here, where the grace of one has befallen. It was so fashioned, so programmed, that so and so in the forest, I'm using Vedantic setup now in a story which was already explained. In the forest, so and so had to go into the forest, so and so has to get lost into the forest. And to save himself, now which part of the self is he trying to save? As far as he is concerned, he's trying to save his mortal body from being devoured by wild animals, etc. He is in that state, in a forest infested with wild animals. He had gone there to hunt. He had his prey. It's gone dark. Imagine if the animal that he had killed, is carrying on his shoulder and he's walking, and you think he's going to be safe? There will be someone behind him, waiting, looking at him carefully and making Om Brahma, Param Brahma. And what's going to happen? Destruction, is it not? So fear leads to something. The difficulties that mankind faces leads to something. And that is grace. He's gone up the tree. And imagine, to keep himself awake, the number of things that he is now doing. This real awakeful setup, the awakefulness in the individual. Mankind is generally in this slumber, but now this real awakefulness is what is being spoken of. So it is all on a Maha-Shivarathri night. That is the beauty. It's not an ordinary night. It's on a Maha-Shivarathri night that these incidents are taking place. And here he's trying to secure himself. And to keep himself awake. Why? If he just closes his eyes, he can fall and somebody is waiting for him downstairs. he'll be food. Not food for thought. Food for thought is upstairs. This food is different downstairs. Animal cannot think. Therefore, don't become an animal. A man acting like an animal, remember, animal acts on instinct. There is no discrimination. So we should not be acting thus. There's compassion, there's the qualities that have been pointed out. Love, that of giving, embracing. These are the qualities that bring us closer to an entity. And Mahashivarathri night here now, imagine, in that fear, thinking of his wife and children. Something he has to think about. And so to keep himself awake, he's plucking the leaves from the trees. Just to keep himself awake, and he's dropping the leaves from top. And where is the leaves falling? There's a Shivalinga down. Do you think Bhagwan Shivji came and placed the ling there? That this particular person has climbed that particular tree, underneath is the Shivalinga? Was this just an accident that this happened like that? It's already pre-planned for what's to happen. That's why I'm pointing out karma. You are here. You're not coming to do me a favor, or Swamiji, or anything else. It's already destined, you have to be here. You can try to keep away, nothing can keep you away. You just have to be here. Because there's a call from within. So, every leaf that was falling on the Shivalinga, the tears that fell from him, these were Amrit, the nectar, I can say, that was falling onto the Shivalinga. And he kept awake, vigil, for the whole night. That is what is needed, the most important thing on Shivarathri night, to keep awake. Therefore, you will find that statement, Shvete Sukham Kastu Samadhi Nishto. Who is the one that has the best of the sleep? The best of the sleep comes to that individual who is absorbed in Samadhi. That is the best sleep. What? You're sleeping over the world. It doesn't touch you. Otherwise, mankind is sleeping in the world, which entraps you. A difference. In Samadhi, when you are in that spiritual state of consciousness, what? You are absorbed in Bhagwan, God, not in the world, so-called world. So here we are offering ourselves to Bhagwan Shankar. That what you call Bholanath, the most compassionate being. I'll give you a state of compassion, When everybody goes into the mandir, we'll offer flowers, we will be offering our agarbatti, giving arati to Bhagwan, using so many things in dakshina and everything, fruits, you name it. And here comes a dacoit, a thief, into that mandir. He looks around. There are lots of jewelries, etc. hung. And how is he going to get there? There is no ladder. He's looking around, not even a broken bucket that he can put around, which he may not kick it sometimes. You know what happens when you kick the bucket? There's no such a thing like kicking the bucket here. He wants to be awake. He wants something. And what do you think? He sees the Shivaling, he puts his leg onto the Shivaling to get hold of these gems, etc., to bring it down. And what? Immediately Bhagavan Shivji gives darshan. It is on Maha Shivarathri night. All these incidents are taking place. And this robber is telling Bhagavan himself, you're making some mistake here. I didn't come to pray that you're giving me darshan. I didn't ask for darshan at all. How come? And what Shivji tells, see, everybody comes and offers something, 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 something. Who can offer themselves like what you have done? See, he put himself onto the Shivaling to get there. He offered himself totally. Now, sisters and brothers, don't do that. This is Kali Yuga. You might get the wrath, if not Shivji, then Veerbhadra might get up. You know what Veerbhadra had done to Daksha Prajapati? In Haridwar, Daksha Prajapati Mandir is there. He took the head off. And who was Daksha Prajapati? The father of Sati. So Daksha Prajapati gets mad, then the end of it all. So here you find this night, Mangalmaya Ratri, the night of auspiciousness, and it is us getting deeper within ourselves. So it's the sum of it all. Nothing is outside. Whatever we are aspiring for, these are all the usage in our lives towards something. But everything is within ourselves. Sister Jayasri was talking of the 7 different chakras, etc. And everything here within ourselves. The awakening of the Kundalini. It's to deal with spirituality. When there is this aspect of seriousness, the dedication from within ourselves, we ask ourselves again and again, ask just this one question. I've come into this world. What is it that I want? Do you know the question may be so simple. I don't think you could get a simpler question than this. It's so simple. And the answer? Will the answer be as simple? So what is it? Do I have to succumb to the world as such, which is in the relative state, and going and being in living with that status? What the world is. Everyone in the world. There's this mad rush. You know, in the street, if you go, if 10 people have to run, they just ran for nothing. But you know, the whole street will run behind them. Not one of them will sit back and think, why am I running? But because those 10 ran, this is the scenario, the world is effect. Because so-and-so is doing it. You stand outside and look into the sky. You find everybody coming next to you looking into the sky. You won't ask, what are you looking at? But he also wants to look what he is looking at. All this mob psychology. So coming within ourselves, sisters and brothers, the night of Shivarathri. I was pointing out earlier that when we do puja, the worship is not performed on the murti of Bhagwan Shankar. On a Shivarathri especially, the worship is on the Shiva Linga. And when you look at the Linga, this ling is denoting the spiritual knowledge. Lelam artham gamayati iti lingam, meaning that into which everything is contained is called a linga. There is nothing that is not in it. Everything is contained here in it. That is linga. So when you look at Bhagwan Shivji, everything is contained. The color depicts it all. White. Like that of Mother Saraswati is white. Do you know, between black and white, these are no colors. Scientifically, you know that. They are not colors. All others are colors, but black and white is not a color. And Bhagwan Sri Krishna or Mother Kali, you find, is black. And here with Mother Saraswati and Shankar Bhagwan, white. So what is black and what is white? The absence of all colors, total absence of all colors is black. Do you know that? And the inclusiveness of all colors is white. So when you begin to give attributes, what attributes are you going to give with the black? Say, Bhagwan Sri Krishna. You cannot give, because it is absence of all attributes, no colors at all. And Shivji, with everything intact, what attributes are you going to give? You'll be limiting it. That which is all-pervasive, that which is inclusiveness of everything, I'm trying to give one aspect of it. I'm limiting it. I cannot fulfill that. So our innate nature behind everything, behind the Shivarathri. So the vigil that we observe of being awake, generally during the day, you know, these three states, the four states that Brother Sister Jayaswari was talking about. Jagran is a wakeful state. Swapna, this dream. Shushupti, deep sleep. And the fourth, Turiya. Turiya is not a state as compared to these 1, 2 and 3. It is beyond the aspect of what you term as states, but because of the comparison that you are making, you are using a name as Turiya, which is superconsciousness. The river has merged into the ocean. The river has become the ocean. In the ocean, all these waves are coming. Hundreds of waves. In the comparison of each wave, you're looking at different sizes, etc. And each wave is thinking, I'm different from the other. But realistically, what are the waves? The ocean. So the Turiya as compared to each of the waves here, is only in comparison. It is no comparison at all. It is a state on its own, what you're terming as Chatushtapada, the fourth state, but not a state according to Vedanta. It is the emergence into the Absolute. When you can term Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Shivoham, Shivoham, this is it. Chidananda Rupaha, Shivoham, Shivam, I am Shiva, I am Shiva, I am Shiva. See how we have merged into it. Then, what is your innate nature? You are not what you are seeing. In the Upanishad, there is a beautiful depiction. Yat viditam tad alpam martyam dukkhatmakam sha iti heyam. In strong terms, these are used, the mantras that I am using are all in the Upanishads, the Upanishad. And this is only the bhashya of Shankaracharya. Yat viditam says, whatever is perceived, whatever is perceived, remember it is small, alpam. Object of perception can never be the absolute. The absolute perceives. Like trying to know your mother. The birth of the mother. Imagine a child trying to know the birth of the mother. Can the child know the birth of the mother? Or is it the mother who knows the birth of the child? So we don't put the cart before the horse. So yet viditam tad alpam, small. Whatever is perceived, no matter what the perception is, it's small. And because anything that is small, you shouldn't be going after. Your innate nature is Bhuma, absolute. You're going after that. And that which is small, alpam martyam, it's cause of death. Dukkhatmakam, cause of all the miseries that we will be going through. So these are the things that happen in our own lives now. But yet, now, when you go through scriptures, when you sit, our knowledge, remember, is parampara, which is passed on traditionally from the Guru to the Shishya. When a disciple that has sat at the feet of the Guru and learnt, there is not only a word transmission. There is a difference in this Guru Parampara setup than going into a classroom and studying ordinary secular education. Religious education and secular education. I'm pointing out all of these importance that we should give thought to. In spiritual studies, in Guru Parampara, when knowledge is being expounded in that way, as I say, it is not just word transmission, but with the word is Shakti transmission. It's so well weighed and given. So you begin to understand. It has an effect like an arrow that has penetrated your heart. When the concentration is there on our part, when I am listening intently, I'm fully conscious. That is what. Imagine in the mountains in the ancient times, You know, when we talk about this Katha and Jhanda and the stories that go on, the Satyanarayan Katha that took place, etc., in Shemi, that forest, etc., Naimisharanya, there were 85,000 people seated in the forest. Do you think there was a sound system there? Like what we are doing now. If the sound system is not here, not even here you would be able to hear me clearly. But to the thousands of people seated there, what was the secret in this transmission of the knowledge? You've got to be receptive for one, and the transmission has to be perfect. Two things. And that is what happened. The Guru may not even be speaking one word. He could be just seated and absorbed. And the identity of himself with the entire setup there is already giving that kind of a development state of the knowledge that a person is aspiring for. Look how simultaneous, how beautifully it is, and there it is. So satsang plays that role, sisters and brothers. Sometimes, you know, when we go on talking, you'll be astonished to note this. You may be wondering, I didn't speak to Swamiji. I didn't tell him about my problems. I didn't tell him these are my doubts, etc. But the topic of discussion was this. He was actually talking on my difficulties, on my problems. How come? So, these are the states of revelation. And it's there within every individual. Not that we are seated on a high seat and so it's only here. No, it is for every person. The inward journey that we are applying ourselves into will give us the revelation of who we are. So night, when you look at night, you know what? The statement has been revealed in the absolute darkness. You may not even have thought on these. They say, Dvait ki apratiti, meaning there is no aspect of consciousness of duality in absolute darkness. Did you follow me? There is no aspect of consciousness at all in absolute darkness. No aspect of duality. There is no two. When you are in the dark absolute, you can see nothing. Because you can see nothing, how can there be something? You cannot see. There's total darkness. So, dvait ki apratiti. There's no perception of duality. Meaning what? Give it a positive chant. There's perception of non-duality. And that non-duality is who? You. In that state, can you comfortably say, I don't exist? Can you sit back and say that I don't exist here in the dark? You're breathing. You may be able to feel your breathing. You are there, alive. You're not dead. You're totally awake in the absolute dark state. That is the state of awakeness, wakefulness. You are awake. The world is asleep, I'm awake. And that's what the Gita has described. The world is asleep. The Muni, the Rishis and Mahatmas are awake. Awake in what? In themselves. The world is asleep. They are asleep to the self and awake in the world, whereas the saints are asleep to the world and awake within themselves. And that is what we want. Every one of us. Now we're putting you into this deep thought current of awakefulness. You're valuing what? What is the subject matter? Whom are we discussing? Is it something alien? No, it's you. So what is it that you want is what I'm talking about. That is what I want at the end of the day. A revelation, a knowledge, something that I would understand of whom, of myself. So the subject matter, when the subject matter is you, it becomes more an interesting setup. But if the subject matter is alien, you'll fall off to sleep. If I say I'm talking about you, won't you be curious to know who I am? Because I want to discuss you. And that's what the Shastras are trying to tell us. I'm talking about you. And when you begin to know who this you is being spoken about, then the interest starts awakening in each individual. I want to know more. I want to know more. I want to know more. And the scriptures will go on. Here, my child. At one stage it is Tat Tvamasi, thou art that, and the explanation that goes on. What is Tat? Who is Tvam? Asi, the verb. Tat Asi Tvam. Thou art that. What? See how the scriptures are taking us then, sisters and brothers. And this is the real Shivarathri. Not just singing, not just doing puja and going into it and not knowing what you are doing. The difference between an ashram as compared to just a mandir is this. Bhakti will go on in the mandir. You go on praying in the mandir, but why you are doing that, you don't know. You'll get it here in an ashrama, because ashrama is teaching what? The scriptures. There is the value system. Nothing wrong with the mandir. One is seated there, but there you are doing puja. You have to go to the ashram to note why you have to do the puja. So Shivarathri here, the night, the vigil, we are engaging ourselves totally, going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. You make a sacrifice. What you love so much, and the thing that we all love very, very much, there's no one that can say, I don't love it, that is sleep. Who can tell me that I don't love sleep? Something wrong with you. But now is the sacrifice time. Sacrifice is what? Not taking something else and sacrificing. Even if I'm taking one fruit and offering, I'm making a sacrifice of the fruit. Sacrificing yourself. That is sacrifice. It isn't easy. The austerity that you are performing, the mind faculty, how you are strengthening yourself to keep that state of awakefulness isn't easy. But that's what you are going through. Come what may, the determination in you, nothing at all that is going to deter me to go through the night. I'm going to sit. When you can do that kind of a determination, then you find the fruit is there, must come. Don't fall a prey. Give in to what you term as fantasies, and we lose out. There's so much to gain. How many nights, you tell me, in the 365 days that Bhagavan has given to us, only one night He has asked us to be awake. And I still will cry, I can't do it. I'm not telling you are doing it. I feel so happy. The general consensus. So can you do it? Answer?
Yes.
Yes. So how-minded? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. You can. You will. You must. If Swamiji can be awake, what's wrong? Tell him, Maharaji. Swamiji will be thinking, when I'm going to stop, then he can go. I'm just joking, don't worry. So sisters and brothers, yes, the night you're going to go through. We're almost coming to the end of the second prahara, which will be at 12 o'clock. From 12 to 3, the third. And each one again will be given an opportunity to come, make your offerings. The Bilva Patra that's kept, Shivji loves that the most. The greatest sacrifice, remember, the greatest sacrifice from within all of us come at that most intense period when sleep is going to really ripple over you. And that is from 12 o'clock. You know, it's like an gravitational pull. When we are in the midstream now, at 12 o'clock, the gravitational force can take you on to the other side. Or it can bring you down this side. Which side you are balanced more? Spirituality or materialistic? You find you'll be pulled. If your mind isn't strong enough, then you're going to come down this way. But if you're strong enough, from midnight, you'll go further. That is true. You know, when in the galaxy, what you call the galaxy, how you'll find so many debris, thousands of them. Because there is no gravitational pull at all. You go there, you can be floating, you know, wherever you want to go. You want to float, go into that galaxy. You'll float. But what would it do? Will it earn you anything to float? There's nothing that will be, no matter how heavy it is or low, there's no such a thing is going to come down. Because there is no gravitational pull. So, spirituality, you know, when Sister Desiree spoke, Shivji wears the skin of an elephant, but sits on the skin of a tiger, Vyagra. And what is that? For your own spirituality, if you can, you're not killing, don't worry. If you can get a skin, even if it's a deer skin, which is described in the Bhagavad Gita, when you sit on a deer skin or any of a lion's skin or tiger skin, even that of the elephant, you'll find you've got a helpmate where the mind is not given that kind of an opportunity to be dragged down through the gravitational force. It is preventing the state of gravitation. Your mind can develop and go into the higher realms. Therefore they're using the skin. You find saints and sages are seated on the skin because they go deeper into it. It's not just a fantasy, oh, I like to sit on the deer skin, I like to sit on the tiger skin and meditate. No. You try that and see how the mind will be uplifted. Give it its development. Mantras, jump, meditation, you are assisted. Go deeper. Don't worry, when you're buying one, buy two. Maybe you can give us one. So sisters and brothers, I'm making a humble request at this stage. Firstly, I must thank our sister Desiree for the beautiful revelation, beautiful message on Shivarathri. I'm sure that has penetrated the hearts of all of us. For any reason, anyone of you that will be taking leave, I know it's a weekday, that you would be wanting to go home, some distance, traveling, etc. Don't forget the repetition of one's name. Try, even if you are at home, to keep awake up to 6 in the morning. It will be to your advantage. You know, when you plant a seed, you don't expect that seed to suddenly grow. The term that is being used in Sanskrit is adrishtipal. Adrishti is something you can't see immediately. But because you can't see, you cannot come to the conclusion that it is not there. See? It is growing. So our spirituality is growing. I may not be able to see it. The sacrifice that I'm making is assisting us all. That is the whole purpose of us being together and in this togetherness, crying out to God and trying to learn something in the process of this. Where else are you going to? You read all the books if you want to. You will not get what we are pointing out.